Hey, everybody, and welcome to AmeriLife Marketing Mentors Podcast. We are back again. I'm Joe Barker.
And I'm David Belleville. And today we are talking about data and analytics and how you can leverage them to grow your business. So, Joe, data and analytics is a part of marketing that maybe isn't as appealing as some other parts of marketing, but having said that, it is one of the most important parts of marketing because if you don't have the data and analytics, you don't know what decisions to make. And so to start this conversation today, what would you recommend to somebody who's just getting started with marketing and they're unsure of how to begin tracking their analytics?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think sometimes when people hear the words data and analytics, it's like almost unknown or it's overwhelming almost to where it's, if they don't really understand what it is, it causes friction and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to, deal with that or I'm more worried about just making sure that my ad posted or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the easier that, that we can make it and that people understand, it doesn't have to be complicated. And so, we don't need to be tracking every single little thing as we get going, but track the things that are important as we're building things out. It's funny, the last couple of weeks, I went into a couple of calls with some different groups and they brought up, hey, we really want your help with strategy for 2026.
Sure.
And as I was talking with them, one of the first things I said, before we start building more strategy, let's break down what we've been doing. And then what does the analytics look like? Mm-hmm. And you could tell they were like, oh, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like before we start building on strategy, let's actually break down everything that we're doing. And then let's make sure, that we're making good decisions. Because just with everything, what is it called? The Pareto principle or something where it's a 80-20 rule.
Okay.
80% of your, or 20% of your efforts basically bring 80% of the results.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Exactly. So that's kind of what it is with data and analytics and why it's so important is the more that, the more we know what's working, the more we can amplify it. And then why are we going to be putting all this effort into things that aren't working?
Yeah.
So data and analytics is simply tracking the pieces that we need so we can make informed decisions to move forward with either more of that or try new tactics.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, one thing that I heard was essentially you need a baseline to start from. So whether that means you are starting with a clean slate or you've been in business for a year and it's just time to start leveling up, you need to have some sort of a baseline metric so that you can create realistic goals. Otherwise, you're just kind of flying blind. And so when it comes to setting goals, that really starts to dictate what you measure. And so defining what success looks like is an integral part of your first steps as well.
Absolutely. So even think about what we've done here at AmeriLife Marketing Mentors as we've launched. So, when we were looking at the brand and we were looking to launch all of these channels, we put some goals behind everything. Mm-hmm. The only way we know if we're hitting those goals is if we're measuring against them with the tools that we use. So we'll give an example. The very first webinar that we ran, we really didn't know exactly what to expect. It was our first webinar. We knew we were using different tactics. We knew that, we had some goals set on there as we wanted X amount of people to register. We wanted X amount of people to show up. Based off of who registered. And so that was just baseline. But what was really important as we were building all of that out is all those channels that went into play. So if we were doing email marketing, tracking what email actually brought in. If we were doing Facebook advertising, which we did, it was tracking what came in. So when you're just getting started, to me, that's the fun part, where you're kind of taking a best guess at, hey, this is what I would like to see. But then once you run that first campaign and once you get things going, now you actually do have those benchmarks and can say, all right, this is where we are this time. What did we learn? And what can we do next time?
And one thing that I hope that our audience hears from what you just said is that it's okay if you don't meet those initial goals or expectations. What really matters is what happens after and whether or not you're setting goals that are achievable and realistic for your business and your growth. You mentioned email marketing. That is one component of marketing that requires an eye for data and analytics, but there's also the website data that you need. You can measure your success on social media and, of course, YouTube. We know how important video is these days. So there's a lot of different things to track, but let's keep it simple and go one by one. Absolutely. When it comes to measuring the success of your website, where would you start? What metrics are you looking for?
All right. So anything with your website, I would definitely make sure that you have Google Analytics attached to that. It is very critical. So Google Analytics comes into play when we're trying to see what people are doing once they hit your site. The key metrics that we look for on Google Analytics is where did they come in from, which is tracked automatically through analytics, even if you don't have UTMs and everything. It'll pull larger topics like, oh, it came from organic or it came from social. So it's broader. And then from there, we would definitely track how long did they stay on your site. So it gives us a good bounce rate. It gives us how many pages they visited. But if you're just getting started, I would just get Google Analytics in there. Just be patient. You don't need to check it every day. Check it maybe once a month. Just see what type of traffic are you bringing into your site? Where is that traffic coming from? And how long are they spending? You can also see what page they came in on. And so that's really important too. So if you see somebody coming in on your homepage and it's a lot of bouncing, and meaning that they left your site within 10 seconds, there might be something missing. And so it gives you an opportunity to look at it and say, hey, what am I missing here? Is your call to action or your only CTA all the way at the bottom of that page? That may be affecting it. Go ahead and bring that up and see if that helps. So website, Google Analytics, the basics in the beginning. And then as you get more familiar with it, trust me, you can spend a whole day just analyzing all the data that Google Analytics gives you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But it is so important because it is essential that you're continuing to refine your strategy, and that includes the functionality of your website. We know that your website is one of the best places to convert. And so knowing that that is a real driver for your business, it's one of the most important things to ensure you're staying on top of, and you can't make informative decisions without those data points. Moving on to email. I know email marketing is near and dear to your heart. What are you looking for in a successful email campaign?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, you're going to hear a lot of people say, well, the open rate's the most important thing. The fact is nowadays the deliverability rate is the most important thing. So if you're not delivering to them in general, especially with all the new Gmail and all those new rules that are in effect, you really want to make sure that you have a high deliverability rate. That means that you're hitting and you're actually delivering it. From there, that's when the open rate will come into play. Open rate to me is not as important as it was a couple of years ago. The reason being is sometimes some platforms are opening it to check it real quick. And so it's skewing the open rate slightly. What's even more important is the engagement rate once they open it. So it's going to be the CTR, or the click-through rate. The click-through rate is critical. That's telling you with every email that you're sending, usually there's a purpose. There's a reason that you're communicating, whether you're adding value and you're trying to send them somewhere to go check something out, go learn something. That click-through rate tells you if the message you're sending ties together with the consumer and you're providing that value, because it means they're clicking on it and they're going to see what it is that you checked out. So click-through rate's definitely important. The other number that I watch is the unsubscribe rate.
Very important.
I want to check spam rate and I want to check unsubscribe rate. So spam rate is really critical because you want to stay under a certain number. Otherwise, you're going to get shut down. So you want to make sure you're not spamming people. We want to provide value. So the spam rate's important. The unsubscribe rate. Are you hitting people too much? Are you starting to see an unsubscribe on certain topics? Watch those type of things. Again, it's nothing where you need to overanalyze after every single send, but it's something that you need to watch for trends and you need to keep a pulse on what's happening.
Trends is a super important keyword there, because you're right. It can be easy to have a knee-jerk reaction to one bad campaign or one bad email. However, it's the long-term trends that should really be guiding your decision-making, not short-term metrics that don't tell a complete story. As you were talking about the different metrics to watch for when it comes to email marketing, it sounds like there's a cascading effect. Opening the email is just one part, but then the user experience once they're in the email and ensuring that there's a clear call to action is important. What that addresses is, again, that user experience. And that's also very important on your website. So when we're talking about both of those things, functionality really matters. If you have broken links, if you don't have a clear call to action, or the messaging is confusing, then that's going to lead to a bad user experience. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. It's imperative for your website and your email to be a positive experience, because that is a touch point that can really make or break you, especially when it comes to email marketing.
Yes, and especially as you start building out campaigns. So, we're kind of starting from the beginning. So you're setting up your website, you're setting up your emails, but as you begin actually building out campaigns, you're going to do exactly what you said. You're going to start connecting all those dots. So it's like, well, here's the email that I sent on this campaign. Here's all the people that clicked on it, but they went to the landing page on my website, but they didn't convert and they didn't complete it. Why?
Yeah.
What is causing that? And is there something that we can do to optimize it, to make it to where we're meeting the needs where we might have missed the mark? And so that's one of those things. And I think if everybody always approaches it with like a fresh set of eyes of just re-looking at everything, look at all the data, and then make those small changes each time just to see, hey, will this work? And that's where I think you can see the effect. But yes, absolutely. Website, email is one of my favorite, for sure. Absolutely one of my favorite. I still think it is the best one when you're looking for a high ROI, and people still respond a lot to email.
Yeah, and it's a great place to be building trust too.
Absolutely.
You really have a direct line straight to your audience when it comes to email. Let's move on and talk a little bit about social media marketing. Now, there are multiple platforms out there, from Facebook to LinkedIn, YouTube and TikTok, and there's a ton of different metrics that you could be looking at. Now, social media is where your prospects are spending the most time, so you should be there. But when it comes to refining your message, ensuring that your messaging is resonating with your audience, that's where data and analytics come into play. So what are you looking for when it comes to a successful social media presence, and what should our audience be tracking? Because there's a buzzword out there called vanity metrics.
Yes. Which vanity metrics, I mean, it is a thing, but everybody likes seeing those likes when people hit their pages. So
a little dopamine boost.
Exactly. I think it just depends on what type of campaign and what exactly you're looking at. So if we're talking about our organic postings and we're talking about maybe we're building our personal brand, or you're building that business brand and you're looking at social media, those type of things, you're going to look for engagement. So it's great if people like it, or it's great, if you get impressions or people see it, that's great. The fact is when they start engaging with you, that's when you know that you're resonating.
Yep.
That's when you know you're having a conversation. And I think as long as, we can keep in mind what the purpose of social media is for, it's to be social.
Yeah.
And so the more that we can interact with people, if they comment and we respond, and we can keep track of, what does that engagement look like? That's a really, really good sign if we're posting good content or we're not. Now, the one thing I'll put about that is, depending on the platform that you're on, keep in mind that they want to make their money too. So a lot of the times, and I'll call out Facebook here. So a lot of the times when you're posting organically on Facebook, Facebook will only show your post to about 5 or 10% of your actual followers.
Yeah.
So if you have 100 followers, only 5 or 10 of them are actually ever seeing your content. So that's where we say don't get caught up on the vanity metrics, because it's not a ton. That's where you see people doing the boosting. And that's why Facebook does that. They want to get the $5 out of you.
Exactly.
So I would say, I am a fan of boosting, as long as you're hitting your target audience. So if you're going to boost those posts, or if you're going to run any type of paid ads, that's where you want to pay attention even more to the engagement of those ads, and then who is actually liking and commenting and maybe even clicking wherever it is that you're sending them.
Sure. You mentioned engagement, and I want to highlight another reason why engagement is so important, because as you mentioned, these social media profiles want to keep users on their platform for as long as possible. That's how they make their money. And engagement is a signal to the algorithm that users are staying on the platform. So while it's great that your content is getting engaged with, what's even better is that that's a signal to the algorithm to distribute it to more people, because you've already indicated that people are staying on the platform because they're engaging. So just another reason why engagement is valuable. I always tell people that engagement should be the vehicle to your destination, though it's more times than not your end goal. It is great for a dopamine rush to have 100 likes on a post, but that's not going to lead to any real business outcome.
Right.
So using that engagement as a vehicle to get you to that final call to action or end goal is just another layer to all of this.
And actually, I'm going to add to that, because
Sure.
I think you pointed out something really, really great there, is the shift that we've seen in social media over the last couple of years. So it used to all be about the followers and the likes. now they're delivering content even if people don't like or follow you. And there's so many times where I imagine all of us have seen it, where you scroll through your page and you don't recognize 3/4 of the content that's on there or who posted it, because we're getting delivered so much AI. It is AI content, because they're using AI to determine what it is that we engage with and what it is that we like. So they're getting us posts that they believe we're going to like.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't pay for it, they're delivering it to us and they're saying, hey, we think you would like this. And that's exactly to your point. What they're trying to do is they're trying to keep me there longer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do like this. I'm going to keep scrolling.
Yeah.
But those are the type of things where, we're seeing that shift happen, and it becomes even more vital to make sure that you are resonating. And the way to resonate, which is what a lot of people try to figure out, is to provide value. That's really what it's about. Don't be on there just trying to sell. Really try to help the people who you're trying to connect with and provide a lot of good value.
And when you're posting on social media, ensure that you're giving enough time for that content and that strategy and that message to breathe. So when it does come time to refining, you have a large enough sample size to base your decisions off of. Again, just avoiding those knee-jerk reactions. Let whatever strategy you have in place settle. And then, over the course of a month to 3 months, depending on, a timeline that's relevant, you can make an educated decision.
Absolutely. Actually, I've noticed that it's on LinkedIn now. If you're ever on LinkedIn, you probably get a ton of posts that are 2 to 3 weeks old. And you're probably like, why didn't I see this when they posted it 3 weeks ago? That's a part of their algorithm right now, is they are consistently sharing posts at the top of the feeds that are 2, 3, even 4 weeks old. It's happening. That's what's out there. And that's a vital point to you because of what you just said. Because if somebody was to post and then try to look at it at the end of the week and be like, oh, I didn't get a ton of engagement. Yeah. Well, wait 4 weeks because it's still hitting. I had this morning notifications popping up from stuff I posted back in December. And I'm like, wow, this is still out there hitting. And it's pretty amazing. And what it is, it's the algorithm, though. And that's purposely what they're trying to do.
That's such a good point. LinkedIn is very well known for that. And another area of social media where that's also relevant is short form video. If you get on Instagram Reels or TikTok, there's a chance that you're getting served content that was created weeks or even months ago. So that's just another layer that indicates don't have just knee-jerk reactions. Let your content breathe. Speaking of short form video, I want to extract YouTube from this social media discussion because of how important it is to those health and wealth professionals to educate their audience. And we have so many people approaching us right now as we start the year wanting to learn more about how they can elevate their video capabilities. Joe, when it comes to YouTube, what metrics are you looking for someone just getting started?
Yeah, with YouTube, if you're just getting started on your channel, you really need to be realistic. And so if you're not going to put any paid dollars behind it to get those sponsored videos out there, it truly is, you're having to grow your brand organically. And so really what we're watching, and I'll give an example because I like using us, is AmeriLife Marketing Mentors. We launched our YouTube page. And what we watch is we're watching the views and we're trying to see what that looks like over time. But as we grow and as we continue to post, we keep seeing those views go up, even from our very first video we ever put out there. Shorts are critical. Shorts are absolutely critical on YouTube right now. You have to have shorts. It's almost like you kind of can't even survive on YouTube anymore if you don't have shorts that are delivering over there. But really what we're watching for is we're watching the subscribers, but it's realistic. So we're not coming into it and saying, hey, within 1 month of not putting any paid dollars behind this, we want 1,000 subscribers. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But we said, hey, in 3 months, and with us posting consistently, we think we should be able to get to 100 or 150. We have and that again came out of guess and saying, but one of the things with YouTube especially is to really set your benchmarks metrics against yourself. Don't try to go against other channels. You can't compare. You really need to set a goal. You need to see how you do month over month, and you need to watch and see if you're posting consistently what that looks like. But I think a lot of people make a mistake and they're like, oh, well, this person has X amount of subscribers and they're killing it, and I don't have anybody liking my stuff or subscribing, and I'm not doing as well. Well, they might have been doing this for quite a few years. And they built it. And that's what you're doing now, is just day by day, just keep going. And then I would say quarterly watch it in the beginning. And I think that's kind of the approach we're taking is we're looking at it quarterly. Now, Do we like to see the
course.
metrics every day? Of course we do. But we don't have to look at it every day. We will look at it monthly, but quarterly is probably in the beginning the best bet.
Great advice. And speaking of, do we like to look at metrics every day? I'm going to be very honest with our audience. I'm not a numbers guy.
Yeah.
And when I started having to track this data and analytics for my career success, it wasn't my favorite thing to do. However, the more that I learned about what key metrics will truly lead to success and finding those indicators of success or clear indicators that you need to make a change, you start to have light bulb moments, like aha moments. And finding those diamonds in the rough, speaking of dopamine hits, like that really is an exciting part of analyzing this data and analytics. So is that something that you can speak to? Because I went from really dreading having to go through these numbers to kind of gamifying it and enjoying the process.
Yeah, so you and I I think we came in at different ends of the spectrum there, because I was obsessed with the numbers. So I treated it, but I came in email marketing. I was really heavy in, and I really enjoyed email marketing. And I tell everybody this, I treated it like a video game. And if my open rate and my click-through rate, I would look at those numbers, and then the next email I would send, I would literally go to the people that I worked with at the time, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to kill that one. I'm going to kill that one. I am going to do so much better. And I made a game out of it. And it made it fun for me because I'm a very competitive person, especially if there was somebody else on the team running stuff. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to beat that.
Not you.
Not me. But it actually did make it fun for me. And then I started realizing that it went across all the channels. And so even though I started in email, then when I got into really doing analytics on websites and then got into social media even more. So over the years, I just kept kind of expanding, but I kept connecting those dots too. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I've got this person, and I sent them a cold email blast, and then now they're subscribing at my website. Wow, they just followed me on YouTube. So I started like connecting those dots. And you get to a point now, which we kind of noticed when we were at kickoff, somebody would come up and say like, hey, I just watched your webinar and I just subscribed to you. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely.
And you start to feel like, hey, all this work that we're doing behind the scenes and all this effort, it truly works.
Absolutely.
And it does help build your brand. And the more that we can look at it and we can say, hey, well, these are the efforts that we need to put in place more because it's driving the most, that's what we're watching. So I love data and analytics. I love to dig into the numbers. It's one of the things that I do the most, I think, is really analyze and try to make recommendations to optimize and get campaigns the next way. So, and I'm glad you're starting to come over to my side.
Yeah, I'm definitely, yes, I've been converted. I so see the value in data and analytics and the gamification of it. It truly is so rewarding when you make a strategic decision based off of your interpretation of the data and then see that work out. It's a feeling that's hard to describe because we are just talking about data and analytics. But there's a reverse to that too. I've always been told that as long as you make a decision and you can justify it, then the outcome doesn't matter that much. So as long as you can make a decision, a strategic decision, and you have the data and analytics to support it and you can justify that decision, then if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Don't get discouraged. All it's leading to is another data point for you to be able to make better, more informed decisions in the future.
I think that's where it goes to like, you can't fail. The fact is it's not that you're failing, it's that you just learned something. And so it's all a part of testing. It's all a part of seeing, we run a lot of tests. We run a lot of A/B tests. And the only way to know truly what works and what doesn't work is to give it a try. And so I think you're 100% right. You can't get too caught up in it, and you have to just, as long as you're measuring it and as long as you're looking at it and you're making those notes of like, oh, wow, that red button didn't do too hot this time. We're going to switch it to blue again. As long as you can just keep an eye on those type of things and know, okay, but you're making informed decisions. And you can't make informed decisions. It kind of goes back to that story I was saying in the beginning when we work with partners and they want to help build a strategy for next year, we can't make those big strategy and informed decisions without knowing what we've learned in the past. And that's really where it comes full circle. And it's like, we got to put together all these puzzle pieces, and then we're just going to, we'll have that path moving forward to feel that much more confident about it. Now, could we build it? We could, but if we really want to learn from what we've done, let's do it right.
Sure. One thing I thought of as you were as you were speaking, is how many agents and advisors come to us and they just don't know where to start. It feels overwhelming. And that feeling makes sense when you don't have data analytics or metrics to refer to, because it truly feels like you're just grasping at straws, throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. And so data and analytics gives you that confidence that tells yourself, like, I can do this because I have a reason to justify why I'm doing this. And data and analytics can really be that safety blanket and allow you to make decisions without feeling like it's just full of risk.
Yeah, and I think that's where, kind of like our team comes in to help too. And so that's where I think that's where we really thrive is simplifying things and breaking things down for people. So if you are an agent or advisor, or really even if you're a FMO, a broker dealer, whatever wheelhouse is yours, if you're at a point where you're like, man, this is just overwhelming, it only takes a call with us for us to kind of be able to help break it down of, okay, well, what's your website built on? Do you have Google Analytics? You don't? Okay, well, here's how to get it. This is where you put it. And if you can't do it yourself, that's where we come into and we do it for you. But it doesn't have to be difficult. If somebody came to me and was like, say we were in the car business and they were like, hey, I need you to go sell this car tomorrow and make sure you talk about the warranties. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that because it's not my world. It's the same type of thing. We completely understand that data and analytics isn't, especially with the marketing data and analytics, isn't always a part of your world. And so that's why we're here, though, is we're here as those experts to be able to help. And that's where, just reach out to us. And even if it's a 15-minute call to get us started, that's all it takes.
Yeah. If you don't know where to start, if you don't know which analytics to come to, that's what Joe's saying. We can help guide you. And then you're just consistently checking back on those metrics, month after month or whatever cadence you set. You said quarterly earlier. You don't have to pour over these metrics every single day. It's probably best that you don't.
Exactly.
And again, Joe, this has been great recapping everything that our audience needs to know just to get started. But we have a tool now that we haven't ever had before, and that's AI. Analyzing these data and analytics has never been easier. Now, I know that you use AI every day, as we're trying to encourage a lot of our audience to do as well. How do you leverage AI to help you understand those numbers?
So I think some of the easiest ways to utilize it, especially if you're just getting started, is utilize the AI that's built inside of the platforms. That's the easiest way to get started with it. If you're in Google Analytics, there's now AI tools where you can actually hit it and ask for the insights. That's where it will highlight things and it will show you things that it's noticing that maybe you're not quite familiar with. That's probably where I would start. I think as you advance into it, you'll start connecting those dots and then you'll start connecting those tools. But the easiest way and the most optimized way to do it is whatever tools you're utilizing, whether you're utilizing Salesforce or you're utilizing MailChimp for your email sends, whatever it may be, just utilize whatever the AI tool is that's built within it, because it's built for that tool.
Yeah, great advice. You can also take screenshots of complicated data that is hard to understand, because if you open Google Analytics and you've never seen that interface before, it can feel intimidating. I promise it gets easier. But another great utilization of AI is just uploading that screenshot and then allowing AI to analyze that for you. Now, you should always fact check and cross-reference and make sure that you're not getting a hallucination, but that's just another way to make this process easier.
So that's so funny. So I actually used Copilot yesterday for that exact purpose. So I went into Google Analytics and I wanted to know for the past 2 years traffic by page to know, hey, do we need to keep all of these pages? Are there some that people aren't utilizing? Are they, is there just... why are we not getting traffic? It would have been a lot for me to sit there and try to sort it and go through it and try to analyze everything. So I took I did an export of the pages I was looking at. I imported it into Copilot and I was like, hey, this is what I need. And it analyzed it all and it shot it right back to me. And it was amazing. And I was referencing it against another list that I had. So it was 5 minutes, not even, and a whole conversation with it. Done. And I had a report, I hit print, and then I had a full report ready to go for me. So absolutely, the screenshots or the exporting and importing is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. One more thing, because you did touch on it. How important is a CRM? I mean, you can really pull all of this together into one place, keep yourself organized. It takes a lot of that intimidation away because everything's in one place. So you don't have to remember to go to 6 different platforms to analyze all of your data. Can you speak to that a little bit as well?
I mean, I can speak about that for a whole show if we wanted to do a whole show on it. But I would just say all the CRMs, or a lot of them, are very robust. It's almost like you can get data fatigue because it's so much data, and it's not possible if you're in sales trying to analyze all of it. But if you keep an eye on the key metrics and you utilize those platforms the way they're supposed to be done, you should be able to see how a lead came in, at what point did they convert, how many touch points you had in between the entry and the conversion. And then from there, you want to keep going with engagement. You want to keep going with cross-selling. There's all those opportunities. A CRM keeps all that organized for you.
Yeah.
You can see every single touch point. But again, that would take, I will talk about it for hours. It is pretty amazing. And we probably should do a podcast just on that.
Yeah. I mean, it would just got decided.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. We'll do a podcast on the importance of CRMs. But Joe, I think that we've covered a lot of great ground today. We want to remind our audience out there, you are not in this alone. It does take a level of knowledge and understanding of these numbers, but you'll get there. You have to just start. And we say that all the time with anything. But
Absolutely.
if you do have marketing already underway, then you need a way to measure that success so that you can make the necessary changes. Joe, do you have any final thoughts for today?
No, just again, I know in the beginning, it's almost intimidating maybe when you hear, oh, I need to look at data, I need to look at analytics. It doesn't have to be. And I think the starting simple, again, just reach out to us if you have questions. This is the stuff that we love to do all day, every day. So if you have questions, reach out to us. We're here to help, and we're here to make it simple for everyone.
Sure. My final takeaway would just be make sure you're very clear on your goals. Your goals will lead to whatever metrics you're tracking, and just keep it simple, as you said, to start. 3 or 4 metrics. You can always scale up from there. And of course, we're here with you every step of the way. So until next time, I'm David Belleville.
And I'm Joe Barker.